If you've ever played Earthbound, then you know that this game is unique. Compared to other RPGs of the time, the game wasn't afraid to try something different. From the modern day setting to the fourth wall breaking sense of humour, every part of Earthbound was something unique and memorable for players to experience. Something that always stuck with me when playing this game was just how incredible the battles felt, which I think is due to the wonderfully crafted sound design. So with your permission, I'd like to take us on a journey together to break down why Earthbound's battles sound so good. Let's take a look at some examples. Let's break down a few of the core elements that make up the sound design of the battle system. Okay, we've got the UI, the music, the action sounds, and other miscellaneous sounds. To start with, let's break down what's going on with the UI in an average Earthbound battle. One of my favourite parts of the UI sound effects is how different navigating the menus of the game sounds. Did you notice how there's a distinctly different sound for moving the cursor horizontally compared to moving the cursor vertically? The UI has an absolutely superb sense of auditory feedback that makes the input of the player when moving around the menus feel really tactile, and the player comes to expect the sound that accompanies the action. As the player settles into the rhythm of battle and repeats the same actions, hearing these UI sound effects in the same order each time is a reassuring confirmation that they have selected the correct option based on the sounds that they hear. I think this is a mark of an effective sound design and allows the battles to flow faster as the player does not solely rely on visual feedback but also auditory feedback. Next up, let's listen to the battle music of Earthbound in a new segment of the show that I'd like to call the Marvelous Music Minute. Enjoy. There's much that can be said about the music of this game, but I think the greatest compliment I can give it is that it creates emotion. That emotion draws you into the experience and brings you along for the journey these characters are going on. The enemies in Earthbound are often quite quirky, and the whimsical music matches these designs, making ridiculous moments where you fight off against a skateboarding punk or a cultist clad in blue even more engaging. Not only that, but the quirky nature of this music blends quite well with the mind-bending visuals in the background of many of these battles. One last thing to mention in regards to the music would be that the rhythm of the music is often quite fast, encouraging players to act quickly in battle and adding a layer of tension and extra pressure to make the turn-based battle system feel more real-time. With music and UI alone, these battles will be missing a key element: the sounds of the action from the heat of battle. Take a listen to some physical action, magical action, and some quirky action. The combat action sounds are quite simple here, but that simplicity is a necessity. In an RPG game, you're going to see thousands of battles, so complex, long, drawn-out sounds would be just absolutely pointless. So instead, in Earthbound, we often hear short little swings or brief thudding impact sounds, short little sound effects that clearly add an extra layer of depth to the description of the attack that the enemy or player has just done. Sometimes there will be larger, more significant dangerous attacks, which are given a more dramatic sound to match the on-screen action and immerse you in the battles. My favourite set of action sounds is just how unique the magical psi attacks sound. They do a wonderful job of making these attacks truly sound ethereal, like they are really a form of magical spell that these characters are casting. We've covered a decent portion of the sounds that make up Earthbound's battle system, but there's just a couple of sounds that we haven't touched on yet that didn't quite fit into the other categories I identified. Ness catching a cold or Paula leveling up, these are sounds that are quite ambiguous in nature. What does it sound like to catch a cold or to physically level up? These sounds are not so complex to require a text description to understand what the sound means, and are instead made simply enough to communicate to the player what they mean while retaining a charming uniqueness that is so present throughout the entire design of Earthbound. So if we take what we've observed by breaking down the sounds of battle in this game, we've learned that Earthbound constructs an effective sound design for its battles using memorable UI sounds, emotive music, immersive action sounds, and unique miscellaneous sounds. Describing these observations like this in a brief sentence makes it sound simple, but I think that's the real key here, the simplicity. Earthbound doesn't do anything that is going to completely change sound design in gaming, but it does create a simple and effective sound design that stands out due to how well crafted it is and how open it is to trying new things, but not making them overly complicated. Thanks for joining me for this look at Earthbound. I really love this game, and I hope you've come away from this video with a greater appreciation for not only Earthbound, but how RPG battle systems approach sound design in general.